Now what we're going to look at is the large group communication. Large group communication is created once we have 10 people. And then we can build a large group up to 16 people. And then what will happen is after the 16th person, we then all of a sudden start growing smaller groups again until we have the next group of 16. So basically, it's like, to me, it's like Lego blocks. We begin building from 1 to 3 people. Then from the 3rd to the 10, we build this particular group up to 16, and then we continue to grow and grow and grow. Now, don't get caught up in the details. The creation of this, what Ra called this was the WA, W-A. And what happens in the WA is every single aspect of the human design body graph is brought into the WA. Every gate, every trait, everything's brought into the WA. Now, what that looks like in large groups is that we organize. We organize in different aspects. And there's 6 different aspects that we begin to organize ourselves. And from that organization, there is communication that happens. So a lot of us here that are in this workshop, in this course, in this coaching program, we actually communicate with large groups often. So it's good to know, how are you designed to communicate with those large groups? Now, what we basically can see here, there's going to be 6 different kind of languages, okay? And these languages, you can be multilingual when it comes to the human design system and the mechanics. So what I'm going to just break down for you is if you have one of these organizing channels. So we have management here, which has the 45 and the 21. This is about education and implementation. If you have the 51 and the 25, this is about competitiveness, so competition and capacity. If you have the 14 and the 2, you'll have a language about direction, which is about finance and planning. If you have the 27 and the 50, you'll have logic, which is about recognition and security. If you have the 59 and the 6, this is about interaction. So this is investigation and environment. If you have the 3 and the 60, you'll have innovation and structure will be a part of your communication. Now we're going to look at each one of these aspects. But if you have one of those 6 channels, what you'll notice is that in a large group, you'll be moved into the management role of that group. So say you have the 2145, all of a sudden you'll notice that you are the manager. If you have the 51 and the 25, all of a sudden you'll notice that you're in the competition. So you're building this capacity for competition within the large group. If you have the 14 and the 2, all of a sudden you'll notice that you've been drawn into finance and planning for that large group. If you have the 27 and the 50, you'll notice you get pulled into the logic, into the security aspect, into recognizing health and wellness and the security of the large group. If you're pulled in because you have the 59 and the 6, this is about interaction. So this is really the human resources really is what we call this in business language. And then if you have the 60 and the 3, this is innovation. All of a sudden you'll be into the research and development kind of aspect of the business. Now, if you don't have any of those particular full channels, that's okay. It's not that you can't be a manager. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this is naturally, if you have one of these, you'll just naturally be pulled into a large group to fulfill that particular role. Now, again, you might not have any of those channels, and you may or may not be in management. That's okay. And if you're not in management, what you'll notice is that you will have aspects of these particular different languages that you're able to communicate easily with that aspect of the business. So we call that the power base. Now, what I'm just going to show you in the next few slides, in the next 6 slides, we're going to go through each one of the 64 different gates, their different aspects, their different communication styles so that you can see it. And then you can begin to recognize, this is some of the languaging that I need to put into my copywriting. This is some of the languaging that would be good to put into my resume. All right, let's move forward. So I'm going to look at management to begin with. And management, the language here, so if you have the 45 and the 21, all of a sudden you'll notice that you will be the manager, okay? You'll be this figurehead, I guess. So the 45 is about the figurehead. It's the inspired leader. It's educating its tribe. That's what it does. The 21, however, is the implementation. It is actually running the group. It's controlling and running what the figurehead wants it to run. So again, languaging that you can put into your copywriting, languaging you can put into your particular resume. The 54, this is really about training new talent. This is the entry point for most people when they come into businesses. The 32 is about continuity. So it's the personnel manager. This can be the hiring of new talent. The 44 is this alertness, but it's about the talent handler. It's developing the talent, and it's the ground point for our marketing. The 26 is sales. It's sales and marketing. It's the group's personality. Now, you have heard me talk a lot about the 54, 32, 44, 26, and then the 21, 45. I talked a lot about that throughout here, and because it's all about capitalism, and that's where our talent begins to be shown. Now, when we go onto the other side to the 19, all of a sudden, this is about approach. This is needs. This is organizing philosophy. So this is the need for contracts and payroll. The 49, this is principles. So this is your business practicality. So the resource management, the firing. The 37 is the friendship and family. This is the social organizer. This is enhancing the bonds. And then we have the 40, which is deliverance. This is the foreman. This is love of work. So the 45 and the 21, that's the organizing channel itself. That's the communication channel. And then the rest of these, they actually are designed to feed into or communicate with the management. So for example, the 54, 32, 44, 26, they are speaking to management about the talent and the sales process. The 19, 49, 37, 40, they are talking about the philosophy for contracts. They're talking about firing. So they bring in the social aspect of what we need to see in our business. What is the foreman? The foreman, they're talking about, okay, I'm standing here, I'm delivering, and I love my work, and he's the foreman of the crew. So he has to then speak to the manager, tell the manager, hey, this is getting implemented or not. This organizing philosophy. The 19 says, okay, well, we need such and such that needs to be implemented. So the 21 puts in the practice to get it implemented. Now, all of this languaging here that could be built right into built totally right into your sales page or your resume. Again, we're going to go over this. I'm just providing you guys with the detailed look of it, and then we'll go through the implementation of it when we are in the coaching practice. Now let's look at competition. And competition actually isn't that great of an aspect. However, without having competition, if we're not competitive, we fail. So what the 51 and the 25 does, this is the initiative and innocence. So this is the competition, the courage to dare. And then the 25 brings the spirit of the business. So what is that competitive spirit? We've heard that before. What is the competitive spirit? And then the 10 brings in, okay, well, this is how we need to act and behave so that our spirit can be courageous, that it can be competitive. The 34 says, okay, but we now need to use our energy. How do we use our energy? Well, we use our energy with the correct behavior so that our spirit can dare to be out there and be competitive. And that's what competition brings to us. So again, build this right into your sales pages, build this right into your resume, so that as you're communicating with people, they hear exactly where you come into the process of the big picture of the organizing and the communication. When we take a look at direction, if you have the 14 and the 2, what you'll notice is that you'll be very much involved in the finances and the planning. The 14 is the finances, it generates the resources, it's empowered. It really is a big treasure trove of wealth, of money, of time, of the ability and capability to utilize energy. So there's a capacity here to use resources. Now, how are we going to use those resources? That's what the 2 brings. It brings us this direction, this planning, this vision. It's the direction for the group. And then when we take a look at what feeds into knowing our direction and knowing what to spend our money in, the inner truth of the 61 brings us an inspired idea. Then the 24, this rationalization, converts the idea into a viable, rational concept. And then the 43, this breakthrough. This is insight into making the concept more efficient. The 43, the assimilation, explains the plan so that everybody can see this new mutative direction. And then when we look at the 8 is the contribution. So this is going to explain how the plan will make the contribution, how it will be demonstrated. And then the 1, this creative self-expression. This is the ideas become a part of the creative identity of the group. So if you have anything with any of one of these gates, what you're doing is you're bringing a direction to the large group phenomenon. So that the finance department knows what to spend its money on. The planning department knows how to implement all 6 of these stages, put it into a plan so that the 14 can then finance it. Now, if we're to look at interaction has a lot to do with the human resources aspect of the business. So when we're looking at the 59 or the 6, the 59 is about achieving union. So this is the investigation. This is the binder. It pulls everybody together. The 6 is this friction. It regulates the emotional feel of the group. It's about the environment. Then the 64, this abstraction. This is being of assistance. So doing your job and being of assistance, bringing in assistance and relieving some kind of confusing pressure for people. The 47 is this realization. So it's the right action in the group to get things done. So how do we get these things done? Well, we're of an assistance to each other. This is a lot about bonding. There's a lot about group interaction here. The 11, this is harmony in ideas and the experience with others. So this is our group think. 56, stimulation, telling a story of the group and working together. So how do all these moving parts work together? This is sharing stories in the lunchroom, bringing people together for parties, for Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever holiday that is correct for your particular group. The 35 is progress. The group never stops. It keeps moving. So this is really providing people with this feeling that moving into the future, progressing into the future, providing them with this ability to speak about their experiences so that the interaction is healthy and well in the business. 36 is a crisis, so surrendering to the process, dealing with those daily crises. We have daily crises all the time in large business. And we're designed to bring that in so that everybody can interact at different levels and learn. The 30, the fate, it's about accepting the process of the group. The 41, this fantasy, this is the start. This is the desire to be a part of the group experience. The 53 is these beginnings. This is the pressure to eliminate conflict and give them what they want. So these cycles that are built right into interaction. This begins, the 41 and the 53 are the beginning aspects, the starting points, the beginning points of how do we bring this all together. And so much of this particular aspect is storytelling, group telling, bringing up the daily crisis so that we can learn from it. Then the 42 is this growth. What you start must be finished. You can't sit still and you keep things moving. The 29, this is the commitment to the process, perseverance. 46 is the determination. There's a coordination there, getting lost in the physical experience. The 13 is the listener. This is about accounting. This is about collecting secrets and gathering intelligence. The 33 is about retreat. This is oversight, sharing secrets and informants. So again, most of what you see over here, what we're doing is we are accounting for, like, where have we been? Where has the business been? And then overseeing, okay, taking all these secrets of all of these different experiences, taking all of these secrets, and then providing a place to pull people together so that the emotional feel of the group can be spoken about, massaged, loved, and provided this ability for people to learn from every experience. That is so much of what interaction does. Taking those crises, taking those, things that we begin and we're working through to finish, taking that whole process and providing a place for people to interact at a new level. Now when we look at the logical aspect, this is what we're looking at about security, safety, health. So over here, you'll notice that there's a lot of keeping the group safe, having control mechanisms to keep them safe. So in the 27 and the 50, this is about nourishment and values. So this recognizing who belongs, who's going to be rewarded, and then the security, keeping people in line. This is enforcing those values, enforcing what needs to be done, enforcing all of the security and safety rules so that anybody that's breaking those rules, they probably don't belong there. So what we're doing is we're going to eliminate doubt, okay? Because we're going to set up a structure to eliminate doubt. We're going to have formulas to eliminate the doubt. So we're going to have certainty through formulas. And then in the 17, we're going to enforce the educational understanding of the rules. And then the 62 is selling the facts and the logic to the group. So it is talking about all the details. Listen, here's all of the security and safety rules that we need to follow. And then when we get to the, I'm going to go to the bottom here. I'm going to go to the 58. So this is about enforcing the pressure to remain vital by following the patterns. Then the 18, this is the police. It prevents the challenge to authority. It's going to clean the house. It's going to clean up anybody who's breaking the rules. The 16 is enforcing and molding or sorry, I want to go to the 48. Remaining simple on the surface and dumbing things down, keeping things very simple for people. Here are the steps. Here's the logical steps. And then enforcing and molding the identity of those skills for the group purpose. And then when we go to the 52, this is about control. So you have to have these secure patterns in these groups. This is necessary because in the 9, if we overlook the details, then all of a sudden somebody could potentially get hurt. A step could be missed. So it's about keeping everything in order. And then when we look at the 5, this is enforcing the patterns and the rhythms. The 15 is bringing all of that together and being that reliable being. The diversity in the group is controlled because there is so much diversity. And then when we look at the 7, this is about enforcing the logical leadership. And then the 31 is influence. It's administering. It's the selectivity by enforcing behavior. So everything on the logical side, safety, security, police, this is where you see people who, you could see a real estate company, and what they really focus in on is building communities where there's gated communities, where you need to have a card to come in. Or these are the aspect of the business that puts in all the safety regulations for the computer software. So nobody can hack into the system and steal the secrets. Okay? So logical enforcement is so much about the safety and security and keeping the outsiders out, keeping the insiders in. And now we move to innovation. Innovation, this is how the group, how the large business is going to stay in business. This is about innovating, creating something new to keep everything vital. And yet, that's the 3. But the 60, what it does is says, listen, we already have a structure. Let's enhance that structure. So the 60 is always building the new on top of the old, bringing that continuity. That's why very often, so often, you see companies say, we've been in business since 1955. We've been around since 1873. We're bringing that continuity and that they've innovated. And they'll show pictures of the very first processes that they did. And then they'll show the 3 where all of a sudden they're innovating and they're bringing this new stuff. But there's always this continuity and thread. So now if we are to take a look at the 20. The 20 is all about contemplation in the now. So this is new product. It's step 1. What is happening now in the marketplace? What is the trend? What's going on? The 57 says, okay, we are going to bring in our intuition to see what needs to be innovated. The 28, step 3, let's take a risk and create something new. And the 38 says, listen, fighting to get what's new accepted. So innovation is always going to be talking about it, speaking about it. This is the new step. This is the new thing. So they innovate and then they got to sell it. They innovate and then they got to sell it because they got to sell it into whomever has the purse strings. And that is direction. They need to sell this innovation and say, listen, direction, you need to now take hold of this and fly with it. The 12 goes, hey, this is, we're going to now market this. And the 12 says, listen, emotional caution in the present. Let's be cautious. Let's not jump the gun here. Let's bring out what is important. We got to bring it out so that people can adapt to it. The 22 says we got to listen to what our customers have to say. The 55 says, okay, let's express the spirit and romance our customers. And the 39 says, okay, we're going to provoke having them fall in love with this product. The minute you have people in love with your product, it basically sells itself. They will absolutely adopt the product. However, every innovation, there comes this challenge of getting it into people's hands, getting them to try it, and then getting them to accept it. So, what I want you to do, don't get caught up in all the details. There's so many details that can happen here in a large group. I'm giving you a very Cole's Note version of this. So take each one of those understandings of each one of those gates and see how do you get pulled into a large group. If you have a management channel, most likely you're going to get pulled into the management aspect of these 6: communication and organizing. If you don't have, you may be a manager, but most likely what you're doing is you are going to be the people behind those managers, feeding them the information, doing the steps, doing the work, implementing what needs to be implemented so that the business can be vital, so that the business can be competitive, so that the business is secure, and so that business has this ability to interact at a high level, and so that there is innovation, so that the newness can be brought out. So every aspect of the human design body graph, every aspect is important to a large group. How do you communicate in there? Well, we just walk through that. See how you communicate, see how you get pulled into large groups, and then you can use all of this languaging in your sales pages and in your resumes. All right, have fun.